Aspire to a clean career, leaving no shame for descendants. Hello everyone. Welcome to Encountering Chinese, Case Stories, Cases Judged by Bao Gong. Today, I'm going to bring you a story called Wine Vat. Once upon a time, there was a man named Zhang who had to leave home to take up an official post, leaving his wife Muo behind. Muo often went on outings to Huayan Temple with her personal maid, Ailian. One day, a jeweler from Guangdong, Qiu Jishou, was staying temporarily at Huayan Temple. When he saw Muo's beauty, his desire was instantly sparked, and he decided to find a way to approach her. The next day, Qiu Jishou disguised himself as an old woman selling pearls, bringing with him a string of fine pearls, and came to Zhang's house to sell them. Muo, fascinated by the pearls' brilliance, bought a few. Qiu Jishou, sensing the opportunity, started chatting with her and wouldn't leave. After lingering for a while, with evening approaching, Muo said, "Old lady, it's getting late, you should leave now." Just as Qiu Jishou reached the door, he turned back and whispered, "Madam, to be honest, my place is quite far from here. It's getting dark, and the road is slippery. I'm just an old woman, carrying so many pearls. I'm worried I might meet trouble on the way. Would it be possible for me to stay at your house for the night? I'll leave first thing tomorrow morning." Muo thought for a moment and, seeing that the woman was just an old lady, agreed. She allowed her to stay, letting her and the maid, Ailian, sleep on the lower bed. However, in the middle of the night, Qiu Jishou sneaked over to Muo's bed, leaning close to her ear and whispering, "Madam, I'm actually a jeweler from Guangdong. Yesterday, when I saw you, I fell for you and decided to disguise myself as an old woman to come here. Our meeting tonight is a fate from our past lives." Since Muo had been alone in the house for several days after her husband left, hearing these words stirred her heart. From then on, the two began to secretly meet, and their affair remained known only to Muo's maid, Ailian. Half a year passed in the blink of an eye, and Zhang was promoted and returned to his hometown. One afternoon, he was taking a nap in the bedroom when he noticed a dried spit mark on the ceiling, which made him frown. He turned to Muo and asked, "Has anyone else slept on this bed?" Muo shook her head. "Of course not." But Zhang didn't believe her. Pointing to the ceiling, he said, "Then what's this spit mark?" Muo casually replied, "It was me. I spit it there." Zhang sneered. "Only a man can spit that high. How could a woman spit that high? Why don't we try it right here?" With that, he tilted his head back and spat upward. Sure enough, it splattered on the ceiling. Muo tried to mimic his actions several times, but she couldn't get it to reach the same height. Zhang immediately grew suspicious. He asked her repeatedly, but Muo stubbornly refused to admit anything. Zhang mind started working, and he headed to the fish pond. Calling over the maid, Ailian, he asked sharply, "Has your mistress been acting strange these past few days?" Ailian knew about the affair but had been warned by Muo not to speak out. She could only reply, "I don't know, sir." Zhang snorted coldly, unsheathing the knife he carried with him, and said in a low voice, "If you tell the truth, the blame will be on your mistress, and I won't hold it against you. But if you keep silent, don't blame me for being merciless. I'll kill you right here and throw you in the pond to feed the fish." Ailian, seeing the cold gleam of the blade, trembled in fear. She quickly started crying and said, "I dare not hide it, sir." "Madam, indeed." Before Ailian could finish her sentence, Zhang Ying's eyes burned with fury, and his face darkened like water. A murderous rage surged in him, and he wished he could immediately tear Muo to pieces. But then he thought, if Ailian lived, there was no guarantee she wouldn't expose the matter and ruin his reputation. His eyes turned cold with malice, and without hesitation, he shoved Ailian into the fish pond, drowning her as she struggled. That night, Zhang Ying tossed and turned, unable to sleep. By the second watch of the night, he said to Muo, "I can't sleep, I'd like to have a drink." Muo replied, "I'll ask the maid to warm up a pot for you." Zhang Ying shook his head and said, "It's already the middle of the night. If we wake the maids, they'll gossip behind our backs. Why don't you go to the wine vat yourself and get some fresh red wine? I like it cold." Muo believed him and, putting on her clothes, got up to head to the wine vat in the courtyard. Zhang Ying quietly followed behind her. He saw Muo set up a small stool, tiptoe to reach the mouth of the wine vat. In that moment, Zhang Ying's eyes flashed with cold light. Taking advantage of her unguarded position, he suddenly grabbed her feet from behind and shoved her hard. Splash! Muo fell into the vat, and there was no more sound from her. Zhang Ying stood coldly to the side, watching to make sure she couldn't struggle back up. Only then did he return to the room, calmly lying down to sleep. After a while, estimating that she must have drowned by now, Zhang Ying pretended to be puzzled and called out, "Honey, honey. Strange, why hasn't she returned after going to get the wine?" He then called out to the maids. "Madam said she wanted some wine and went to get it herself, but she's been gone so long. I called out, but there was no answer. Go check and see what's happened." The maids quickly got up and searched the courtyard, but found it empty. It wasn't until someone brought a lantern and shone it towards the wine vat that they saw Muo, stiff and lifeless, floating in the wine. She had already lost all signs of life. The maids screamed, crying. Madam fell into the wine vat and died. Zhang Ying heard their cries and rushed out, feigning panic. Throwing on his clothes in haste, he wailed in sorrow. "How could this happen? My dear wife." The next day, Zhang Ying informed Muo's brothers to come and handle her funeral arrangements. He filled the coffin with gold, jewels, fine silk, and other valuable burial items, pretending to show deep sorrow and affection. The coffin was temporarily kept at Huayan Temple. That night, he secretly ordered the coffin to be opened, and all the gold, silver, jewels, and fine garments were taken, leaving only the empty corpse inside. Early the next morning, the monks from Huayan Temple rushed to report in a panic. Madam's coffin was pried open last night, and all her clothes and valuables were stolen. Upon hearing this, Zhang Ying feigned outrage and, along with Muo's brothers, hurried to the temple to investigate. Sure enough, the coffin was wide open, and the gold, silver, and garments had been looted. He pretended to be heartbroken, leaning over the coffin and crying loudly. Then, He took some copper jewelry and rough cloth to replace Muo's burial items. Afterward, he angrily shouted at the monks, "Have any suspicious individuals stayed in your temple?" The monks all knelt and kowtowed, terrified. "My lord, we are all monks. How could we ever commit such a heinous act?" Zhang Ying sneered. "Then, were there any outsiders staying in the temple?" One monk replied. "There was a pearl merchant from Guangdong, staying here temporarily." As soon as Zhang Ying heard this, he immediately declared, It's most likely this thief." He immediately ordered for Qiu Jishou to be locked up and sent to the county office, filing a complaint accusing him of grave robbing. Upon hearing the report, the county magistrate ordered severe torture to force Qiu Jishou to confess. Qiu Jishou was beaten so badly that his skin was torn, but in the end, he managed a grim smile and said, "I didn't open the coffin, but since this is a karmic debt from a past life, I am willing to die for it in this one." With that, he gritted his teeth and wrote out a confession, admitting to the crime. At that time, Bao Gong was serving as the imperial inspector. Zhang Ying went to the courthouse to file a complaint, hoping that Qiu Jishou would be swiftly executed so he could leave in peace to take up his official position. Bao Gong took the case file and began reviewing it by the light of a lantern after nightfall. Suddenly, a howling wind blew, and a cold breeze swept through the room, causing him to shiver. He couldn't help but wonder. Could there be a miscarriage of justice in this case? He carefully read through the document several times but found no apparent contradictions. Just as he was exhausted, feeling sleepy and dozing off, he suddenly dreamt of a maid standing before him with tears in her eyes. In a quiet voice, she said, "My lord, I was innocent, yet I was pushed into the fish pond and drowned. The madam raised a man, and she was also thrown into the wine vat and died." Bao Gong woke with a start, realizing it was just a dream. He furrowed his brow, thinking to himself, "This dream is too strange. Could there be hidden details in the case?" The maid and the Muo's deaths seemed unrelated to the theft of the coffin, but the coffin did belong to Muo. "I'll question them tomorrow and see if any new clues come up." The next day, Bao Gong entered the courtroom and summoned the defendant, Qiu Jishou, for questioning. "The plaintiff accuses you of robbing a grave, but you could not have done this alone. Do you have any accomplices? Speak up quickly." Qiu Jishou gave a bitter smile. "My lord, I didn't open the coffin, but this was all destined. I am willing to die without complaint." Hearing this, Bao Gong immediately remembered the words from his dream. The madam raised a man, and she was pushed into the wine vat and died. His heart jolted. He pressed on, "How did Muo die? Do you know?" Qiu Jishou replied, "I heard she fell into the wine vat and drowned in the middle of the night." Bao Gong was stunned. The details from his dream matched reality exactly. But the maid in his dream had also mentioned the madam raised a man. That part still needed clarification. He cautiously asked, "I've discovered that Muo had an affair with someone, and Zhang Ying found out. He then pushed her into the wine vat to drown. Now, Zhang Ying is in a hurry to have you killed. Could it be that you and Muo had some secret dealings?" Qiu Jishou's expression changed. He was silent for a moment before finally sighing. This matter was supposed to be a secret, only the maid Ailian knew. But I heard that Ailian was pushed into the fish pond and drowned, and now Muo is dead. I thought no one else knew about it, so I've kept silent all this time. I never imagined this karmic connection would lead to Muo's death. It must have been Ailian who leaked the matter, and Zhang Ying had her silenced. After hearing this, Bao Gong's heart understood the full truth. The dream and reality were perfectly aligned. Ailian was an innocent soul who had died unjustly, and it was her ghost seeking justice. Soon after, Zhang Ying went to the courthouse to bid farewell, preparing to leave for his new post. Bao Gong remained calm and, without a word, recalled the poem from his dream the night before. He wrote it down on a piece of paper and handed it to Zhang Ying. Zhang Ying took it, but as soon as he read it, his face turned pale, and his body began to tremble. Bao Gong coldly said, "Your family is not pure. As the head of the household, you cannot even manage your own family. How could you possibly govern a region? You should be removed from your position. You unjustly caused the death of your maid, your heart is cruel, and you should be dismissed. Now, you have robbed a grave and framed another, adding more crimes to your list. Do you still think you deserve to take up a new post?" Zhang Ying collapsed to his knees, repeatedly begging for mercy. "No one knows about this, please, my lord, have mercy and let me go." Bao Gong sneered. "No one knows? The heavens know, the earth knows, you know, I know, and even the ghosts know. If the ghosts hadn't come to me, how would I have known? Your wife's misconduct was indeed wrong, and Qiu Jishou seducing another's wife is unforgivable. But Ailian was just a maid, too afraid to defy her master. She was innocent. Should she have died too? If you hadn't killed her, how would her ghost have come to me to seek justice? You murdered her to cover up your family's shame, but your heart was malicious. Now, you've killed someone who should not have died, and you've ruined your own future." Zhang Ying hung his head in shame, speechless. That autumn, Qiu Jishou was executed by beheading for his illicit affairs with others. Bao Gong then reported to the court, accusing Zhang Ying of mismanaging his household, unjustly killing the innocent, and deceiving the imperial court. Zhang Ying was subsequently dismissed from his position, investigated, and permanently barred from official employment. Alright. Today's case story, Wine Vat, concludes here. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave your comments and share with others. See you again in the next issue.